9.887 to tie the USSR. Amy Scherr will be first up. And it looks as though, Kathy, it may come down. They'll take the better of the two vaults. It may come down to how well the Americans do on the uneven parallel bars to decide this whole thing tonight. But at the moment, the Americans are on the vault, and Amy Scherr, another of Karolyi's students, is up.
This is a good event for the Americans. They all have strong vaults. Yurchenko with a full twist and a stuck landing. That's what it's going to come down to. They've got to stick these landings because they cannot afford to give away a tenth or 2/10 on landing.
Now remember, if she likes the second one better, she can take that. One of the two.
This is actually an advantage to stick your first vault, because if you come back and even just do an equal vault and still stick the landing, chances are the score tends to go up a little bit. Nice height, nice open position in the air, and of course a good landing.
Awaiting her second vault. Amy is out of Cincinnati, of course, trains in Houston, as we said, and should get along with Bella just fine because she's very fond of animals and has a lot of her own pets. If you saw Bella's ranch down there feeding a deer, goats, getting his eggs from his hens, and this is what he loves. Gymnastics, and his team is in contention to upset the Soviet Union. 9-8-2-5 on the first for Amy.
Amy is a very intense competitor. She's a great kid. If you start talking to her, she breaks into a big smile. Very, very friendly. But when she is on the floor, she is tough, and she concentrates to the fullest extent of her ability, and it really shows in her performance. To improve on this vault. Better on the horse. Actually, a better vault. Of course, there was a hop on the landing, but she got better position on the horse on this second vault and was able to push a little bit harder.
How do the judges reconcile themselves to that? Do they go for the better position on the vault, or do they go for the landing?
It's hard to say. It will probably balance itself out. We'll see if she gets any more height on the vault. It was almost equal to the other one. So I would guess that the other one will score a little bit better. The vault goes so quickly. The judges don't have what we have, instant replay and slow motion. We can look at it over and over again to see the deductions and see what is good about the vault.
But she knows she already has a 9.87, rather 9.825 in the bank as she waits the second. There's something Bela Karolyi does all the time. If you watch gymnastics, he's a constant pacer, trying to look at the scores, trying to keep his young women settled down. Here comes the score, 9.8. 3-7. So it is better.
They thought it was a little bit better. I thought the vault was better. It just all depends on what the judges, because they sit at a different angle. They're down below the level of the floor.
Betty Okino, surprisingly good performer.
Another Yurchenko with a full twist, little step on the landing. Of course, that's what she will try and correct on her second vault. It was a very nice vault in the air. Good twist, good position. To see she's right on top of the horse, right where she wants to be. She might want to try and get a little bit more rotation off the horse and into the twist. Kind of twist a little bit early here.
She had that 9-9 on the balance beam.
You'll see several of the gymnasts do this vault. When Kim Zemeskel comes up, you'll see she opens up out of the twist, and flare makes the landing a little bit easier to stick.
Now, these are the standings, remember, after the second rotation. 9-8-0 for Betty on her first vault, and here's her second.
Oh.
Almost.
Step forward. Again, almost the same vault this time. She was trying to stick. She was making the correction. She had over-rotated the first one a little bit and stepped back, so she tried for the stick and had to step forward.
Now, as we see the 9.837 by Amy on her first, and Betty had a 9.80 on her first. Remember, the American women have to average 9.887 to tie the USSR after 3 rotations.
one thing you have to say about this American team, they're fairly inexperienced in international competition, and they're doing a heck of a job here, particularly Betty Okino, Amy Scherr, going up first and second on every event. It's a tough position to start your team off. It's a lot of pressure. You have to try and set the pace and set that base score as high as possible so that the others can build on it.
At the moment, Betty's waiting her second score, 980 on the first. The follow will be Sandy Woolsey, and Kim Zemesco will be the anchor. Sandy is a Desert Devils, her club, out of Tempe, Arizona. Not a Caroli product. Now Betty, a Caroli product, awaits the score, as do we. Come down to those uneven parallel bars. The Americans are doing extremely well. And in the final rotation, the Americans will be on the unevens, and the Soviets, who will go last, will be on the ball.
When Bella was afraid that because of Kim's injury that she might give away a tenth or two because of a little bit of pain in her ribs, he honestly thought Betty would step in there and really take up some of the slack and be one of the leaders of this team.
Well, this is an inordinately long time here, Kathy, for a second vault.
It's hard to say exactly what the judges are conferring about. The reason it is sometimes quite lengthy, there is a problem with language down there.
Well, she is back up like she's going to take yet another vault.
I have no idea.
So this will be her second vault. What happened on the first vault, we'll have to wait and try to get from the floor. But there was a long time. She was seated, as you saw, and now she's been told she's got to go again.
The only thing I can think may have happened if she had gone before the green light went on, or if one of the judges inadvertently put the green light on and she went ahead and vaulted and none of the judges were watching. But this is all just guessing from our point of view.
That's her number 302. Bella looking. And Betty waiting.
Those are some of our American judges.
What kind of pressure does that put on? Does that mean anything at all to Betty, the fact that she's just standing there this length of time, or does this just go with the territory?
It's some pressure for her, obviously, but she does have a score in the bank.
Which is 980. Bella's walking across to the judges.
She went before the green light.
That's right.
She got a 0. She had 2 vaults. Okay, what has happened, and it's what I was afraid of, and this is inexperience with, if you don't, it's a 0. So I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Well, Bella's walking back up to Betty now with the explanation. Maybe we'll be able to hear.
No. That first was good enough. All right.
Okay.
That's it. The first vault was good enough. The 980 goes into the bank.
It's really sad to see this, and I'll tell you why. The United States lost a bronze medal in Seoul due to a technicality and a rule. And whether the rule, you can say it's a stupid rule or it's not, but it is a rule, and you have to know them, you have to be aware of them, you have to inform the gymnast of the rule.
Oh, now we go back to Sandy Woolsey of the Desert Devils in Tempe, Arizona, and her first vault.
This is something that was always enforced to us. Do not serve before the green light.
Woolsey and Zemesco will have to do very well if the United States is to stay even with the Soviet Union or fall to second.
Sandy's very capable with this vault. However, her back must have been hurting her throughout the competition. Watching her in the workouts yesterday and in the warm-up today, she just doesn't look as sharp as I've seen her look, say at the trials or at the World Championships. And, of course, the recent American Cup. She's much cleaner, much sharper there.
They still have Betty Okino's number, competitor's number, on the scoreboard for the vault. Now, what is going on now, I'm not quite sure, Kathy. But
well, the red light is on, so Sandy knows better. She's not going to go, and she's not going to go until they change the number.
They've just put up the 0 on the second vault for Betty Okino. That's what they're waiting for.
Of course, a hush from the audience.
Because there's been no explanation yet to the audience here.
And there won't be until they go home and watch the taped telecast, and they'll find out. But it's just a rule that all the competitors down on the floor know.